is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Albert?
Hey kids, it's your old pal ML Elric coming to you once again from Red Shovel Network headquarters in the basement of Drew Lane's. Well, it's not really a house of skank, it's just a house that hates him. And we love it because this is where we get to join you every Tuesday. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. We appreciate it if you subscribe, and if you click the alert, you will be ahead of even us because you'll know when we're going live. We often don't know when that is until it happens. But here we are with Mark Fellhauer and Sean Windsor, and we have a lot to talk to you, and all of it's brought to you by Luke Nowacki and Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. We'll tell you how Luke can help you set yourself up for a nice, easy retirement. The Caju Cafe, where if you're looking for a great place to go on the east side, that is our destination of choice. Great food, great entertainment, great fun. And the Michigan Peddler. It's a little damp today, but don't be put off by the weather because there's still lots of good times ahead. You can get out on the pedal pub, cruise around Corktown, Midtown, downtown with your best friends and some beers. And even though they have pedals, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this or not, sometimes you can take your feet off the pedals and it just keeps rolling. And the good times roll here on the Soul of Detroit.
You'll settle there.
No, I feel like I'm on an incline here on a little slope. And by the way,
I just now put down your phone. Did you hear anything he just said?
Yeah, I heard everything he just said.
No, you didn't.
But what?
Such a liar.
No, here's what I know about Mike. He's never ever going to disappoint you. We pull up at the same time out front of this lovely studio, and he starts walking in, and he lifts open. It's garbage day, right? So there's a bin out there. He opens it up. I'm like, What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you looking for? Oh, he's got a remodeling project. I thought, maybe he's looking for something for that. I don't know. It reminded me of the tales I used to hear back in the late '80s in Ann Arbor of people going dumpster diving behind Domino's pizzas to take the toppings off the pizzas that were thrown out, and then go home and make omelets out of them.
That's disgusting. Who did that?
So I just people that I knew in the restaurant business.
So I was spitting out my gum, but I
That's
will.
not nearly enough. That's not fun. Come
I
on.
will confess that when I go up to East Lansing at our rental house, the kids have a garbage can and they have a recycling can. And every time I go there, I go in the recycling can and I pull out at least half a dozen returnables. And I just can't believe these kids are putting returnables in the garbage. They're not even recycling them, but this is money. This is cash money. I paid for college with returnables.
But then you take them back and you put gas in the Riviera, and that's how you get back home.
Can we stop with the refund? Can we just be done with that now? Everyone knows you're supposed to recycle, but is that really an incentive anymore?
No way. Do you know what downtown would look like? Do you know what our streets would look like if we didn't have the returnables law? If we had a returnable law.
What do other big cities and big streets look like that don't have a 10-cent?
They have a lot of broken glass and a lot of crushed aluminum. Plus, I also think that they have scrap yards that take those. People still will pick them up and take them to scrap yards.
There you go. So can we get rid of it?
No, I don't want our homeless to have to save up for cars so they can return
free money.
stuff.
I mean, you pay it when you buy it.
Oh, by the way, one time...
But it feels like free money. It's psychological.
I don't think we say homeless in the Free Press anymore. I think we say under-residenced or something. I wrote in a column a couple months ago that I remember when the hobos were in Kennedy Square, and a copy editor changed it to people who are without homes.
What? That doesn't have the same feel. I mean, hobo is...
Hobos
when I hear
charming, right? I mean,
it's kind of romantic, right?
Red Skeleton, they ride the rails.
You got the stick with the everything tied up in the
kerchief.
Yeah,
that's hobos they're friendly. They
dumpster dive behind the Domino's for toppings.
I don't think that we should be too judgy.
Transient pals.
Look at the three of us. I'm looking at the screen. I can see all three of us. By the way, I have a weird orange glow. We could all use a bit of a shave. We all look like we could be hobos.
I've been working for 55 years to grow this. You want me to cut it off?
I know. I mean,
not going to start over. There's no way. The other thing about returnables is I get to meet a lot of former Fox 2 viewers when I go to Meijer or to the returnable place with my shopping cart full of cans, because Sunday night and Monday morning is usually when the folks who have been cruising the highways and the byways cash in at the.
I'm just saying the desired effect that it's supposed to have is done. It's worn out. It's over. It's played out.
So they get to meet their hero, is what you're saying. You give
No,
them
we
that
just-
opportunity.
And then they say, "We miss you on TV. What have you been up to?"
Yeah, they say Charlie, and I say no, and they say Rob, and I say no, and they say Roop, and I say no.
And they say, "Hey, newsman."
They do call me the
I know.
newsman.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I've been with you where people have called you, "Hey, newsman." I've been with Charlie where
like
people go,
that.
"Hey, newsman."
Yeah, that's a title I think we can wear
Be
proudly.
proud. Yeah, sure.
But no, I think we should keep the returnable law. In fact, the stores are always
Nah.
trying to fight it because they say that it really. Well, and one of my first jobs, once I quit the paper route, my first time leaving journalism was doing all the bottles and cans at Johnson's Milk Depot on Mack Avenue. It creates jobs for kids too. Sometimes it's just cleaning the big
Yeah, why do you hate kids, Mark?
machines.
They can do other jobs. There's plenty of jobs for them to do.
Yeah, pick lettuce.
You're saying that's the reason to keep refundables is for jobs?
I think that's as good as any.
That's ludicrous. Everybody knows you're supposed to recycle. Some people just don't do it.
I'm telling you, if there was a return on those damn plastic water bottles we see everywhere, you would not see the plastic water bottles everywhere. And we might not sell as many plastic water bottles, which I think would be great. I'm not a bottled water guy. That seems to me to be one of the silliest things that people do is buy water in a bottle.
It's easy.
Yeah, but
Remember,
guess
humans-
what?
humans like
this is
easy.
easy. I put water in this cup.
Oh my God! But you have to take that cup with you, and
Yeah, we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of Spartan Stadium by excluding Maz.
And
Is that
then
a
you-
is that
and
a
then you
souvenir
have to
cup?
refill it.
Is that a souvenir cup?
It is, but it's not one that I purchased. I will tell you, it was in the stands after a game.
Do you get free refills or anything with that for the souvenir cup?
Yeah, every time I go to the tap, I fill it with water.
No,
for
I
free.
mean at the game.
No, are you kidding?
Okay.
There's nothing free in a sports stadium.
Well, where I sit at Michigan, I can get free
Oh.
refills up in the fancy
yeah,
pants seats.
Yeah, and that's
So-
where the cake eaters seat.
I'm not proud of this, and I know it makes no sense, but I bring the same cup back every week.
So you're not even paying for the first one?
Is it superstitious?
Not because I'm. No, God, no, I don't believe in superstitions. I don't believe in karma. I don't believe in any of that stuff. That's
Yeah, you
all
do.
mumbo. No, I don't. That's all
You're
mumbo.
wearing a
jumbo.
Lions shirt
It's a shirt, Sean. I can't be here shirtless.
because they won. Yeah,
Getting
right.
out of uniform.
No, right. Yeah, exactly. Because they won, so you're wearing a Lions shirt.
I'm wearing my very fetching ML Solar Detroit polo that we had available.
And I've got my very non-fetching
Merch.
ML Solar Detroit hoodie.
But I bring my cup strictly based on principle because I don't want to pay that much.
Do you have to sneak it in? Do you have to jock?
No,
this
well,
thing?
it doesn't say that you can't bring an empty cup into
Oh,
the stadium,
really?
so
Wow.
no one's stopped me yet.
Could you bring a scorpion bowl in and all your
Which-
buddies could drink Coke for free?
Which I will fully admit. No, because it's got to be one of theirs. I'll fully admit
Oh.
to it's ridiculous, and part of me just does it to see if I can just do it. I'll probably stop now that I'm talking about it publicly.
Yeah, I should probably alert Dave Brandon.
What's that
You're
dude
right
up to?
away.
Oh, I bet you.
Speaking of going through dumpsters for
I was gonna
Domino's,
say he's probably behind
Dave
Domino's.
Brandon update. We should check in on Dave.
What a clown.
Haven't heard that name in a while.
Good.
I'm gonna look Dave Brandon up. I don't know.
Well, didn't he go to Toys R Us and drive them into
Yeah.
drive them into bankruptcy too?
Yeah, no, he did. He did a great job for them.
Is he responsible for Babies R Us?
Well, I think it's all under the same brand, isn't it? Why are you shopping? Are you expecting? What's the point there?
No, God, it's funny. I stopped and got a coffee though, and I saw a gal
Oh, well, here we go.
filling up her grocery cart with one arm and holding a baby in the other, and
If I'd gone there, I would have seen a woman doing it.
Did you offer to go hold the baby?
No, but I thought to myself, and I don't know if y'all have had this thought because your kids are still relatively young, Mark, but maybe you, Mark. I cannot imagine having a baby right now.
Really?
I mean, I can't. The work, I just can't. I can't fathom how.
Because you're old and exhausted.
Yeah, I
So-
can't.
so am I.
can't
It is-
fathom how
it's-
we did that.
It is a
How did
young
that
man's
happen?
game. It's a young man's game.
How did that happen, Mike?
Well, I don't want to turn this into a biology lesson, but you actually couldn't have a baby. That would have been Anne who had those babies. I know people say we had a baby.
You
I'm
mean
like,
raising
you
a
did
child.
not. I was there when the baby was born, and
You know
believe
what
me,
he
it was a
means.
lot easier on me.
You know what he
than
means.
anybody else. I'm not going to concede. No, I could have a kid right now. I'm full of energy. In fact, I miss having a little kid, and I love seeing my nieces and nephews, and I think it's a ball. Here's when I wouldn't want to have a kid. When they're 15 or 20 and they're rolling me out there in the wheelchair to meet their friends, or when it's prom, they're like, "Oh, your grandpa, he's going to die soon." It's like, no, that's my dad. That's when I think it gets rough, when you want to play catch with your kid And
no, I know because I had kids.
and you're
later in
afraid
life.
of rupturing your colostomy bag.
I'm one of the older dads. I know.
Oh,
Are you really?
One of them. I'm not.
But you look so young and fetching. Who used the word fetching?
Stop undressing me. What?
With my words.
Yeah, no, with your eyeball. I don't like the way you're looking at
Look,
me either.
the shirt's a little snug. You know what I mean? So
My shirt, is it?
It leaves a little less for the imagination, so to speak.
I don't think it's that snug. It's just a shirt. Stop undressing me.
You're popping out. You're
You
popping
really think
out.
I'm theme dressing because I'm pumped up about the Lions?
Well,
I mean,
you
I
are-
am.
You
but
are pumped up about your Lions,
Who isn't? If you're a Lions fan, right?
Mike.
no,
He's not a
I'm
Lions fan, though. He
I'm
doesn't like the
consistent.
NFL.
If they win, that's fine. But all those people who are scrambling off the bandwagon are now running over themselves trying to get back on.
That's football, though. That's college football's the same way.
No, I'm there all the way.
Do you-
I'm down with my Spartans, even though they are terribly. Oh, here's where Dave Brandon is. By the way,
Oh, you found out? Okay.
yeah, he's at this. I think they're like a equity firm, KKR. Some people may know it as Kravitz something Roberts. It's they're the big fat cat guys. They invest in stuff.
So, like when he was at Bain. it's
yeah, so he's kind of
venture-
going
or
back
not
to his
venture,
whole
but,
thing.
Yeah.
No, I think they're a venture capitalist. I think
Corporate raider.
right. They find companies, they gut them, and then they move on. So
I know a lot of people in radio that were not happy with Dave Brandon because I think, didn't he buy out Clear Channel and, whatever.
oh, is he
I
with
digress.
Cumulus or Odyssey or one of
Well,
those?
back in the day when he was with Bain Capital. Anyway,
What's happening to radio is what happened to radio is what's happening with college football. They're just people are consolidating, crushing the opposition. They're building this massive overhead that they're not going to be able to support. If anything happens to change the economics of college football, it's going to crash because they're now getting fat and happy off of all this TV money, and that's going to end up at some point.
Right,
They're not going to be able
I'll
to
bite,
sustain
I'll
it.
bite because there's two things here. There's the money the universities are making, and then there's NIL. And you said before we started that you think NIL is ruining it, and it's clearly not.
No, yeah, it is.
If anything, it's leveling the playing field.
How many good teams are out there right now?
Because there's 10
Exactly.
guys out of 110 who get paid, and then the others don't.
Huh?
With
No, more
NIL,
than
there's
that.
110 guys on the football team. I guarantee you
130.
there's only 3 or 4,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
10 who are making any kind of money.
So say you're number 11, you're going to go to a school where you can be one of those 10. I mean, look at the don't make that face. Look at the starting quarterbacks in the Pac-12. I think they're almost all transfers except for 1 or 2, right? Because they wanted an opportunity to play, and the portal allowed them to play.
I think if you can't get paid at a Power 5 school, you're going to go to a lesser conference and be one of their big cats, but there's not going to be the money to go with it because they don't have the TV contracts. They probably don't have the boosters,
Those
and
are
they
two
probably
different things.
play in front of an empty stadium. And who's going to buy their jerseys? How many people are running around with an Appalachian State jersey on or a James
I'm not in Boone.
Madison?
I don't know.
By the way, James Madison, coolest jerseys ever. I think they're the Bulldogs. Each sleeve on their football jersey is a bulldog head staring out at you.
Worst uniform ever? That disaster that your Spartans wore on Saturday. What was that?
What are they wearing? The MAC helmet?
Yeah.
Do you think that's why they lost?
That's Michigan
No,
Athletic College.
Speaking of
That's not why
jer-
they lost.
That's
but
back when we were
that
national champs.
But they have such a cool logo, and they're going to put that on the helmet? I don't know.
Speaking of jerseys,
Not a fan.
jerseys and jersey sales, did you see Travis Kelce's now
Yes.
got the most popular jersey in the NFL?
I was just reading that. Yeah, the Swifties are buying up all the Travis Kelce merch.
Isn't that crazy?
The economy of Taylor Swift is mind-blowing to me. This story is it took over media. I mean, she was at the game on Sunday, and it still is a story today on Tuesday. This is just a pop star attending an NFL game because she's banging, one of the most famous and visible people in the league. But yeah, just the economy surrounding her and everything that they've bought up, and I think his jersey sales went up, 400%?
400%.
He's gained 300,000 followers since
In
Sunday.
one day, he gained 300 in essentially a 24-hour cycle.
Chiefs viewership went up 63% for women aged 18 to 49.
You
Makes
guys,
no
man.
sense. Makes no sense.
We've been trying to drive numbers on this podcast for a long time. It turns out all I need is for one of you guys to date Taylor Swift, and you just won't do it.
There's a new shirt too. 87 his number, and her number is 13. I'm sure everybody's seen that. The credit card ad where she's like, "Oh, 13, that's my lucky number."
Wait, are you making fun of her?
So there's a shirt that says 87 plus 13 equals 100.
Can you get a jersey that says Mr. Swift on it?
Oh, probably. I bet you could. Yeah.
How do you explain her her popularity, the cultural phenomenon that she is. You remember when she was in Detroit, or earlier in the summer,
It
right?
did 2 shows sold out.
It dominated the conversation in this region for 2 days.
Yeah, and downtown was very happy because the people, once again, this economy of Taylor Swift, the people that came in spent a lot of money downtown and were, well behaved, I guess. I don't know another way to put it, but they were out and about and not much trouble. And I don't know, it's wild. What do you attribute it to? She's incredibly talented.
But when did this really start to change? Because she's been popular for a long time now, right? When did it become what it is right now, where she shows up in the Kansas City Chiefs game and dominates the NFL?
Well, I mean, part of it is because of that tour has just been so successful and huge. But she's been popular for a long time now.
No, right? I know she has.
I mean, it's her and Beyonce, right? I mean, those are the 2 biggest stars. But I think Taylor has surpassed her recently.
Mark, I'm gonna let you finish, but Sam Laporta had one of the best games of all times.
And it was lost in the sauce because she's not dating Taylor Swift.
Huh?
That was Kanye West. That's when she became. That's when I first heard about her. Is when Kanye jumped up on stage like 15 years ago.
Yep.
It's hard to believe that she's been a big star this long. Katy Perry wasn't a big star this long. My man Bruno Mars wasn't a big star this long.
Lady Gaga wasn't.
Yeah, Lady Gaga. Where is she? I think I saw her on some commercial.
She's got a migraine commercial
for
now.
some drug, and it looked like
Yeah, because she has migraines.
It's a little bit like Madonna's run, right? It's reminiscent of that.
Yeah, but in a much different. I mean, 2 totally different types of people.
Although Madonna did goose her career by Jose Canseco and a lot of athletes. You know, she kind of glommed onto the superstars thing.
Yeah, but she did it with sex, right? I mean, that was her book.
Yeah.
Everything she did was provocative. Taylor is, which,
Kinda
I don't think
wholesome.
I don't think she's as wholesome and chaste as everybody thinks she is. I mean,
Wasn't she just dating a creep? I mean, you guys on
Matt Healy.
and Mike were talking a lot about what just a sick, cancelable piece of crap the guy is.
Yeah,
And then she gets people to register. She's got, 200,000 people to register to vote last week?
yeah. And was it just last week?
Maybe it was spread out over more than that. But the cultural influences is really something.
Yeah, we don't see that as much anymore because there's so many celebrities now, right? In air quotes, there's so many influencers. It's almost overwhelming. Everybody's got this massive voice, unlike back in the day when there was a handful of people, and she's risen above that to where everybody knows who she is.
I mean, think about it. I was thinking about this the other day. Who are the movie stars right now?
Oh, The Rock,
I mean, who's a movie star in there?
Tom Cruise.
Is there a movie star?
Isn't The
Right.
Rock kind of fading? Isn't he talking about going back to wrestling?
Yeah, that's not fading though. It's a
do
big
we
crowd.
produce movie stars anymore? I mean,
Yeah.
who's a movie star in their 20s or even 30?
That Timothy Chalamet.
I was just gonna say, what about that dude?
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of them, but there haven't been the movies. There's only 2 kinds of movies anymore, right? There's superhero movies, and then there's really weird art house type movies.
Yeah, we don't make Hollywood on Golden. No, I was going to say on Golden Blonde.
How old are you?
Well, Tom Cruise is still a movie star, but he's an old
Yep.
movie star. What about the dude from Oppenheimer? Does he become a movie star? Because is it
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah,
Because-
I mean, he's in everything that
people go see that because of him or because of
No.
the subject matter? So people really wanted to go see a movie about a physicist? That's hard for me to believe that
Great movie.
subject matter was a draw.
No, I think it's more about Christopher Nolan, the director and the writer of it.
Okay.
And how it was filmed and all that.
So are those the stars now, the directors? Like they make a movie and people are like, ooh, if they made it, it must be pretty good. I know what I'm getting. I want to go see
No,
that.
it's curious what's going on
the
with
star
movies.
is Marvel. The star is Star Wars. The star is DC.
I mean, what do we have though that's the share where we share the experience? I mean, that was the great thing about movies. We don't. Yeah, I mean Taylor Swift maybe to some degree.
There's very few shared experiences anymore.
There really are. There really are. Television. Mike was talking pre-show about Ted Lasso, for example. That was a hit and talked about. But if you looked at the numbers, how many people actually watched it? A couple of million out of.
He's my choice for next Michigan State football coach, by the way. He's available.
Well, he
works
started off
cheap.
as a football coach. He's
Wait.
also a work of fiction.
The current Michigan State football coach wants to come back, right?
That you know what?
Or is he just working for more money?
With all these statements I've seen, I don't know that he said he wants his job back. I think he's just saying that I didn't commit moral turpitude, which is up for debate. But the embarrassment of the university, that doesn't really seem to be debatable.
What was the mood like, by the way? You went to the game Saturday, right, against Maryland?
Well, I looked. I scrutinized. It was a big crowd because it was homecoming, so there were a lot of people there who wanted to connect with old friends who come back for homecoming. And so I did eyeball the crowd. I did not see Maz, so I think that he probably did keep his pledge to never come back to Spartan Stadium. He's kept it for one game. I believe he said
He
he'd be
stayed
there for
outside
the
with a
Michigan
cooler in his
game.
trunk?
Well, so that's the other thing. I did send one of our correspondents out into the concourses to investigate whether there really was a problem getting beer. And this
I have that video, yeah, Joe. If you want to put it up, here's the video of your intrepid reporter.
So we went downstairs at the bottom of the tunnel thing. There's nobody there. We stepped right up and got beers.
So I'm not.
Although it looks pretty crowded, I don't know if I could fight through that line. If you look at that line again, that's pretty
All
busy.
for a Coors Light.
That line is not for beer. That's for pretzels and hot dogs and all that other stuff.
Oh, still looks cramped. I don't know. Maybe I'm on Maz's side now.
It is generally cramped, which is why I'm against the beer sales, because I'm not worried about the lines, because I usually bring my own libations, but I'm worried about getting to the bathrooms when
Wait.
people are drinking more beer.
So he doesn't like NIL. He doesn't like beer sales. He doesn't want athletes to get paid. Where is he stuck, Mike? Like
I'm very
18?
comfortable with athletes being handsomely
You
compensated.
want to go
which they
back
are.
to leather helmets? Is that what's happening?
You really think they're?
I don't even
want
like
players to
the.
start
I don't even
dying on
like
the
the
field.
helmets that look like leather helmets. So no, I don't want to do that.
You think they're well compensated because they get a scholarship and they get cost of living?
Yes, and because they get travel and they get clothing and they get tutoring and they get tied into a network that can lead to jobs outside of that. Because frankly, I want the whole economics of universities change where athletics becomes a revenue generator for the institution,
They
not
are.
some grafted on thing.
They're the marketing arm.
Well, so we get a spillover effect. Yes, there is sort of some of the money that runs out of the barrel trickles down to the rest of the university. I understand that a
The
successful
merchandise sales alone,
football
right?
team supports the university. That's great. When people feel good about their team, they feel good about their alma mater. There's no denying that. But this money that's being pumped into the sports programs, too much of it's going to the damn coaches, and we've already seen that no matter how much you pay a coach, you may not get what you're paying for.
Yeah, but that happens because don't pay the players.
No, that happens because you have people who are willing to pump money into it to try and keep coaches well compensated so they'll stay there. To me, most of these kids, if you took the top 25 teams every year, which are ranked, I'd be surprised if more than 2 kids from each one of those programs, on average, gets into the NFL. They will be making their money somewhere else other than football. And so,
But is that simply what it's about? Is about whether you go to the NFL or not? I mean, they should be compensated because they're making money for their school.
they are making a commitment to the school. They're providing services for which they're compensated with free housing, free food, free tuition.
And that's equals their value.
For the 110th guy on the team, yeah, you could say they're being overpaid.
Yeah, for that guy, well, I mean, they're only allowed, 85 scholarships.
Well, whatever
so.
it is. But I mean, there are not 85 guys from every team that are going on to play football
course not.
professionally.
No.
And so they're being well compensated for the service they provide. There's really only probably about 40 guys a Saturday getting into games. So there's 45 guys who are getting something without having to perform and to boost the university's value.
Yeah, forget the practice that they do all week, right?
Yeah.
No, believe me, that 110th guy who gets wiped out by the linebacker because he's on the scout team, because he's ghosting the other team's quarterback, he goes through a lot of abuse. But that's exactly, he'll do anything to be on that team.
Yeah.
And that's
So he's well compensated.
well, no, if he doesn't have a scholarship, to me they should all be on scholarship.
Well,
Because
no,
they
but he
all
gets
put a lot of work in.
He gets compensated, like you said, with travel and all that. Well, actually, he probably doesn't travel. He probably just goes to the home games.
To me, everybody who's on the team should be on scholarship. If you're making enough money to pay your bills, the first thing you do is you give every one of those kids a scholarship so that you match your commitment to them that they've made to you. And I'd pay the walk-ons before I'd pay anybody else.
You're so old.
But
I hear the grunting over there, Mark. The sighing.
We're never going to break him down. He's the only person. Well, not the only person. There's very few people that feel the way you feel.
well, I think that my ranks are going to grow as people see how our sport's being destroyed.
But it's not though. The product is better than it's ever been in college football.
What is the product? The product to me is going to my university and watching my team and enjoying seeing people who want to be there because they want to be there and perform as a fellow Spartan. And what I've seen NIL do is rip this team apart. And I've seen all the money go into college football.
Why don't you look at other teams around the country? Look at just the landscape in general and watching the games. Well,
let's look at Colorado. Look at all those kids who said, I want to be here. Not a great program. I want to be a part of the Buffaloes program. I want to be a Colorado University student. I want to play for this school. I want to be at this school. They get a new coach. He comes in and says, you all got to get out of here. How is that right? How is that fair?
Well,
he's only able to do that because college football has become a revolving door where commitment, dedication, and desire are not the most valuable commodities. What are we teaching people?
We've talked about this
before. We're teaching them go for a buck.
So what about those kids?
Win at all costs. Those are the wrong lessons.
The ones at Jackson State that committed to Dion, or why shouldn't they be able to go play for him? I mean, if you committed to Dion.
Hey, I'm fine with that, but he didn't bring 85 guys from Jackson State. In fact, he told some of those guys who committed him at Jackson State,
you're not coming. Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
Just like P.J. Fleck told some of those kids who want to transfer from Western Michigan, I'm going to take some of you, but not all of you. Even though I told you when I recruited you here that you're my guy, we're going to build this together. Guess we're not.
Well, good. They can stay at the school that you wanted them to be committed to.
Well, here's what we're teaching them.
What about the 80 kids that went with Dion because it's a better opportunity for them?
Well, maybe they should have made that opportunity work for them where they're at.
Okay,
says the guy. You said so earlier in the show you left.
Didn't they want to go
journalism?
To?
So ridiculous.
How many times have you left journalism and tried something else? I mean, right? This is what's amazing.
Well, so right,
there's
you got
two sides to the coin. Is all I'm saying.
I did that once. I did that once when I was 13, and then I did it again when I was 53 to run for city council, which was just an extension of public service. I have left news organizations, but I haven't left news organizations.
You've left them for other organizations.
Right, but I didn't leave them because I wanted to leave. I left them because they didn't do what we were supposed to do.
And you thought you had a different opportunity somewhere else. I mean, people leave for that reasons all the time.
No,
that's what
I left the Free Press in 2005 because they didn't want me to cover Mayor Kilpatrick anymore because they'd get the bell ready, because they thought he'd learned his lesson and he wasn't corrupt. This was, by the way, years before he was forced to resign because it turns out they were wrong. I was right.
And you went to some place that you thought would allow you to do what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's what we're teaching the kids.
And then they sold me out, and I left and went someplace else.
Right. You kept
your commitment.
You kept chasing your dream.
They exercised their options, so it was really their.
Oh, you kept chasing.
So did Colorado.
I mean, you ask what we're teaching the kids. That's what we're teaching them. That this is how life works. If you want to make a change, you make a change. That's what we're teaching them.
No. What we're teaching them is just go where the best opportunity is. Chase the money, chase the glory.
Is that what Peyton Thorne did?
I think Peyton Thorne got caught with a shithead coach who created a faux quarterback controversy and then cost his team their best option at quarterback.
So he should be stuck at Michigan State then?
You know, he already broke his commitment to Western Michigan. So
I think you're looking at it through green and white glasses.
No, I'm not. I've argued on behalf of those kids who went to Colorado. I'm not. Those aren't Spartans. We don't even play them. I don't even know those kids.
Why didn't Kenneth Walker stay at Georgia Tech? Is that where he was, or Wake Forest?
Wake Forest. Yeah. You'd have to ask him.
No, he made a decision that was better for him. And you know who benefited greatly from that? Mel Tucker and the school.
Well, so did Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
Right, and which is the main point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and to me, that's what we're teaching them, right? We're teaching them, hey, we're finally not going to be hypocritical about how we operate or what college sports are all about. College football.
Yeah, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
That's exactly what it is. And it's been that way forever. And we've been pretending it's not. So what we're teaching our kids is, okay, we're not going to be hypocritical about it anymore. We're going to. It's a business. You go where you want.
God, this is such an old subject, and we just go around and around
Because you're
and
like,
around.
you won't see
No,
reason on it.
because you guys you disagree with my viewpoint. You want me to change my mind. Transfer portal.
I
I'm
don't
not a
want you to
fan of the
change your
transfer
mind.
portal, but the transfer portal is different than NIL because you're going for a better opportunity. I understand that, and so that's fine. And when a coach leaves, I think the commitment the kids made to that coach should be gone. On the other hand, I would like kids to learn that you need to commit to more than just a coach. You need to commit to the institution. But here's the problem. You throw money into it. Now it's not about opportunity. Now it's not. You could be a very successful player somewhere, like Keon Coleman was, and leave for someplace else because you know you're going to get more money.
Yeah, that's how this country works.
It pretty much does. But
That's one of the things that's ruined this country when people just chase a
capitalism?
dollar.
Capitalism?
Capitalism is also the thing that says, you know what, if we can make a buck by polluting this river, let's make as much
Sure.
money as we can. That's wrong.
no, it's totally wrong, which is why we have regulations to try to curb that, right?
Yes.
But there's no regulations in college. There's no regulations on the consolidation of these conferences. There's really no regulations on the transfer. One kid they say they can't, the other kid they say they can. There's no consistency there. Why did Jaden
Yeah, you
Reed
know-
have to
you know
sit out
why.
when he came
You
to
know why,
Michigan State,
right?
but Shea Patterson didn't have to sit out when he went to Ann Arbor?
And there you go.
There's
your-
no
your-
consistency.
There's your reasoning why they're just like, all right, anybody can transfer anytime they want because they were sick of picking and listening to every single one.
Well,
And
there's
then
still
people
rules.
claiming
There's still rules because the kid in Tennessee just got caught up in it because they said he
because he didn't play for the second school he transferred to, that one.
yeah, and he said I've got some mental health
North
issues, so I
Carolina.
need to come down. He
All
was
right,
at
so-
like some D2 school, and then he transferred again
Yeah,
to
North Carolina.
Speaking
Oh, it
of,
was, I'm sorry, it was North Carolina, not.
speaking of players who didn't transfer, and you mentioned mental health, and look, what'd you guys think of J.J. McCarthy on Monday?
I thought the article in the Free Press was wonderful. I wonder who wrote that.
Oh, I don't know who wrote it either, but J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback from Michigan, on Monday was asked why he performed from one week to the next, why he performed better. And he said because he had to navigate through a lot of pressure he'd been feeling. He admitted that the pressure got to him, and he talked openly about it, which is not something you see very often. I was just curious if you guys were struck by that, and do you think that is, we're going to see more and more of that, of young people openly talking about whatever anxiety. He didn't talk about depression or use the word anxiety, but he said pressure, and you can better believe that there's anxiety related with that.
We're seeing this more and more, right? I mean, we've seen athletes drop out of. We saw the best athlete in their sport probably ever with the gymnast. What's her name? She's back. Simone Biles.
Simone Biles, right?
Skipped out on the Olympics because
Naomi Osaka, who similarly was on the path to maybe be the best women's tennis player ever. Right?
there's a fine line here though, because people don't want to hear what they might consider whining from high profile people, right? The difference is JJ said it and he still went out and performed, right? Now, if he were like, it's too much pressure, I need to sit out this week, I think people would be like, hey, wait a second. You know what I mean? I
No,
mean,
they
he's
would,
still-
but do you think
there's the fighting through it aspect, which I think is going to be received a lot better than, I'm just having issues, I need to sit out a bunch of games.
What do you think, Mike?
I mean,
Because-
look at is it Austin Meadows who had
the Tiger
2 years in a row.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Yeah.
What do you
think?
think?
And people are kind of like, well, wait, now this is a professional athlete, you're getting paid a lot of money. What's going on here?
And you haven't heard a peep about it from the Tigers, right? And what do you think, Mike? Do you think it's just a reflection of a larger sort of, not trend, but shift in society where people just feel more open, or feel like they can be more open, rather, about mental health issues?
Yeah, I know from talking about what my kids go through to people, I think these are things no one would share 10 or 20 years ago, but now you share them and somebody says, oh yeah, my kid's going through the same thing. Or my neighbor's
I hear it
kid's
all-
going
yep,
through the same thing.
yep.
You know,
And that's a good thing, but do you want to hear that from a multimillionaire, right? Because
Should money change how we perceive?
so these college kids are under tremendous pressure. They're,
Yeah.
you got a conceivably an 18-year-old kid with 100,000 people watching them, and I know how these crowds are, particularly in Ann Arbor, when they don't do well, and the crowd turns on them right away.
talking about what
shot,
a weak, cheap shot.
No, hey, dude, I remember sitting in the stands when I was a kid and saying, wow, it's almost halftime and Harlan Huckabee hasn't fumbled yet. And then he fumbled and everybody's like, Harlan Huckabee sucks. Get rid of Harlan Huckabee. Harlan Huckabee was a god. You don't criticize Harlan Huckabee. By the way, he's child of Spartan. But that's, the way it goes. But there's tremendous pressure on these kids. There always has been. It's why they have substance abuse problems. It's why they get themselves into trouble. So I'm glad that they're finally comfortable talking about it. Here's the downside. Now they're making a shitload of money, and people are going to say, like, shut the hell up and play. You're getting well paid. You're getting well compensated. You got all the help we can afford. You just go out there and do your job. I don't want to hear you cry when you're taking all this money. And I kind of find it hard to disagree with those people when you're pretending you're a professional, but really
you haven't heard that about Austin
because
Meadows,
you are
have you?
A professional.
We really haven't heard a lot of backlash
Because
about
Austin Meadows sucks. Nobody cares about him in Detroit. He didn't come here and perform. He wasn't anybody we were counting on.
I wonder he has mental health issues. Jeez.
We didn't even know. We didn't even know who he was before he was gone. In fact, he got here, and everybody's like, "Oh wow, what a great steal! He had a couple of good seasons." And then the guy they traded him for starts cranking the ball out of the park. Like, "Oh wow, we traded away the one guy who could really hit for a guy who hasn't done shit since he got here." Next thing you know, Austin Meadows is, he's on the DL because he's having trouble dealing with the pressure. That's what he got when we didn't even know who the hell he was. Now nobody even thinks about him.
There's a tricky thing with mental health. So what do coaches always say? Are you hurt or are you injured? Right?
Right.
Are you hurt or are you injured? If you're injured, you can't play. If you're hurt, get back out there, suck it up. People are going to view mental health the same way, right? Are you hurt or are you really, really injured? It was interesting hearing Coco Gauff, the tennis player. She wins the U.S. Open, and she was asked about pressure. What's the pressure like? How do you handle the pressure? And she's kind of like, well, first off, what is she, 18, 19?
19, 20, 19,
and to me, it was wise beyond her years. She's like, pressure, this isn't real pressure. There's people that are working, paycheck to paycheck, trying to feed their families. That's real pressure, So it's all kind of relative to who you are and where you are. And a lot of people people don't want to see that out of somebody that is never going to have money problems, quote unquote. How you view it. Like, oh, that person's rich. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, but if they don't perform very well, particularly in tennis at a very young age, like when you're 14, 15, or 16, you're not going to have big money.
A lot of people would trade their place with Coco Gauff or Naomi Osaka.
And there's a lot of people who would trade their place with the 86th guy on a college football team that's not being compensated because it means that much to them to be there. And that's what we're missing is there are some people who want to be there because they want to be there. It means that much to them. But hey, athletes who say they're under tremendous pressure, I understand. I have great sympathy for them. But when you turn these kids into professionals, you're inviting more scrutiny and more pressure. So I feel sorry for J.J. McCarthy, and I'll feel sorry for his generation, but the next generation who goes to college and people are up their ass because they're not doing this or doing the other things, like, dude, you know what you're getting into, man.
They all know what they're getting into, though.
Well, I think it means more with the money. I think the money makes it that much.
You want them to go there because it's a sense of place, and that's what we do with the universities, right? We have it's an identity thing, and I understand that, Mike, and I understand you feel the way you do. You're still attached to that school. You're a big supporter. Shoot, you teach up there, right? You got business up there in the community.
I'll teach there until somebody makes me a better offer, I guess. Is that where you're going?
That's how it should go.
But we can't apply that. I don't think it's fair to project that onto athletes. They don't necessarily want to go there because they love that school. Some do, but most of them go there because of the coach or the program or whatever, because they want to play football or basketball or whatever it is they're playing.
Yeah, they get a pro-style offense. They want to go to the best pro-style offense.
Exactly.
I got that.
Their identity is as an athlete, not as, I want to be part of that school.
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of schools that have similar profiles who are trying to recruit them, and they can pick the one that's the best fit for them. And then they can develop that relationship with that place. And, I think my uncle went to Michigan State, but I mean, my mom went to UAD. I'm the first Spartan, I guess I would say, in my direct line. So it's not like I was following a legacy or anything like that. I mean, that's my family was all immigrants, so there aren't people who went generations to different
You're
colleges.
still a Buckeye at heart.
Yeah, nobody. I don't think anybody went to. I mean, my parents. I think my dad went to college for a few semesters, but yeah.
But people can build that relationship, and I just think when you're hopscotching all over the place, you don't build that relationship. And then when it's all over, it's over. You got no place to go back to. You're a vagabond.
That's such an individual choice.
Well, think about Sean. Sean, how many different colleges do you go to?
I don't 20, 30.
Okay, which one do you consider your alma mater? Which one do you have a bond with?
I don't.
Maybe
really.
it doesn't. Yeah, that's
Right,
fine.
because you bounced all over. There's no place where you felt that you had an experience that changed your life.
Do you feel not connected?
I feel well. That's not true. I had a total experience that changed my life.
Dropping acid doesn't count in Austin.
No, I went to a junior college and then 2 4-year schools. I just transferred once, and I enjoyed both of them for different reasons, and I got a lot out of both of them. But I don't feel connected in that way.
Yeah.
But I'm probably in the minority too. Who knows?
No, not necessarily. A lot of people don't feel that way. A lot of people don't have that.
No, they feel like about their high school. It's a place they went to school, they learned, they made friends, but you don't feel overly emotional about.
No, not at all.
You're not hanging banners and all that. But I mean, Mike, you come into the studio every once in a while wearing some kind of Spartan stuff. It's just, and a lot of people are like that, and that's fine. That's great.
I don't think there's a single day where I don't wear something that has a Spartan logo on it.
Yeah, I mean that's why you go up and tailgate and go to games.
Did you buy anything with that cool logo that was on the helmet this weekend?
Yes, in fact, I bought
Did you really?
Yeah, from our merch partner now, Nudge Printing. They do some great retro Michigan State T-shirts, and I have a Michigan Athletic College,
Terrible logo.
Michigan Agricultural College T-shirt that I wear, which I love, and that's
terrible.
one of the reasons why we work with them to do our Solar Detroit logo.
Get something
and
with a
stuff.
Spartan head or the S on it.
I've got that too. I've got it all,
Yeah.
brother.
So
I
why do you need
think
that
I have a
messy-
Michigan State College somewhere. That's when Michigan wouldn't let us in.
How long does it take you, by the way, to get your little colic with the moose in the morning or the gel or whatever? Is that like we're talking 15 minutes?
Long enough to be late.
Is that 30 minutes? Is that 5 minutes? What? I mean, I wouldn't know. I don't have any hair, so
I'm glad you finally got your eyes up here.
Next, throwing a shot at him and then saying, "I wouldn't know. I don't have hair."
Yeah.
You fired a shot just to distance yourself. That's great.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
This week's geek is doing something that a lot of people do. He's trying to save his ass by arguing something that has nothing to do with the problem. And I'm referring to New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez.
What a clown.
This guy beat the devil 5 years ago when a public corruption trial ended with a hung jury. That's not an acquittal. That doesn't mean that he was found not guilty. It just means that somebody on the jury or a couple people on the jury said, we're just not convinced enough to send this guy to prison for a long time. So what does Bob do? He beats the devil, he gets reelected, and then he marries someone who I think is fair to say probably had a couple assets that caught his eye.
Yeah, 2 of them.
And he had an asset that caught her eye, which was his position as the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And it turns out that she had some friends in Egypt and some friends here, or she had some friends here who had some friends in Egypt. But anyways, they wanted to get information that was not public information that they could have gotten from the senator. They wanted to clear the way to get some approval so they could sell some goods that would make them a lot of money, even though they didn't have any history of selling those goods or providing the services.
They had 300 million, frozen that they wanted unfrozen?
Well, that was one of the many things that came about. And along the way, in addition to picking up this hoochie, Bob Menendez picks up some gold bars. They pick up a 60,000 Mercedes-Benz convertible after he has a car accident. He picks up something like $480,000 in cash, which he peppered throughout his home in little caches that he had tucked away. And he basically says when they raid his house and when they look at his text messages and they look at his emails, it all say that if he wasn't doing something illegal, he was certainly doing something improper.
Well, you don't keep 470 grand laying around your house?
Well, as Bob Menendez might tell you, I'm not the son of Cuban immigrants who are used to the government coming and taking everything I have. So I don't have the same history.
Yeah, because that's going to happen to a senator.
Yeah, but and he's also 69 and he's part of the government, and so the odds that the government's going to come and
he would be the one doing it. He is the man.
Yeah. So all this is raining down on him, and Bob Menendez. The first thing he says is, "It is not lost on me how quickly some are rushing to judge a Latino and push him out of his seat. Bob, this doesn't have anything to do with where you're born.
The Justice Department loves to take down Latino. They just were looking for a Democratic Latino senator to take out.
Yeah, I mean,
break.
they're not sweating Marco Rubio, also the son of Cuban immigrants. They're not sweating Ted Cruz, also the son of Cuban immigrants. Well, Ted, I think he's actually the spawn of Satan. But, and that's down south. That's hot down there.
Shut.
So, no, it's true. It's he's the man who's well known with Old Scratch. But he's pulling this defensive. So I'm really tempted to say that this week's Geek of the Week is Bob Menendez. But you know who it really is? It's those Democratic senators who are not calling on him to resign immediately. Only one, and I'm not sure how easily it was understood, but John Fetterman said he's got to go. And, sorry, no stroke jokes this week. But Menendez is a disgrace to the Senate. Menendez could be removed, could resign, and be replaced by a Democrat because a Democratic governor of New Jersey says he should go, and he would appoint another Democrat to that seat who could hold that seat and bolster the Democrats' majority in the Senate, because that's really all they care about.
It's almost like they're all in it for themselves.
Well, this is many of the same Democratic senators who wanted Al Franken thrown out of the Senate for not touching somebody's breasts.
Yeah.
And for possibly touching someone's behind or maybe kissing someone on the cheek. They sacrificed Al Franken because they were trying to win a race in Alabama. They don't have to worry about saving Bob Menendez because they're going to lose a seat in New
Is this still
Jersey.
Geek of the Week, or are we in
Yes.
the room 7609 yet?
Wake up.
Oh, sorry.
Stay with us.
Okay.
But here's the real problem.
Oh, so we're finally getting to it. Okay.
The real problem is Sean Windsor. But it's time for the Senate Democrats to stand up.
It is.
And do what they've done before and say this man is not fit to serve with us.
is.
Whatever he's convicted of, it's time for him to go. And so Senate Democrats who don't have the courage of their convictions or their indictments, you are our Geek of the Week.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
Yes. Are you waiting
Oh,
for
hey,
me?
sorry. Just want a quick shout out.
Waiting for me or not?
Just quick shout out to Frank, Alan, Andrew, who are watching us on Facebook. We hope you're watching us on YouTube and enjoying the show wherever you choose to consume it. And of course, you can get the full download at your convenience on wherever quality listening is found. But we do want to thank our sponsors, starting first and foremost with the only business to sponsor every show in the Red Shovel Network, and that is Luke Nowacki and Pinnacle Wealth.
I mean, the
Strategies.
easiest segue in the world, too. If you have $476,000 in cash laying around your house.
Or gold bars. Yeah,
Gold
that's
bars.
not wise. It doesn't appreciate.
It's not earning for you.
No.
Am
it's
I
not.
the only one that thought $60,000 was not that much for a Mercedes?
Oh, that's a good question.
What kind of Mercedes was it?
A 300
Used? I don't know.
convertible.
Okay.
They probably got it at cost.
Okay.
They probably didn't pay anything
That's
for
some serious cost.
Yeah.
Boy, I think we're overpaying Sean to work on this show.
But yeah,
Paid $5,000 for an '85 Buick Revere, and the guy wanted $5,500. I was glad I bargained him down.
don't have that money just sitting around. Have that money work for you. Invest that money. And the guy who can get you on the right path is Luke Nowacki. You can give him a call, 248-663-4748, free consultation. He'll tell you, hey, this is how old you are. This is how much money you want to be. When do you want to retire? Let's figure out. It's all big old equation. Luke knows it all. So once again, 248-663-4748, free consultation for your finances.
Because when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc.
And we also have to tell you that the summer is gone. Is it officially gone?
Last Saturday, I think, was the first day, wasn't it?
So summer's over.
Fall.
Yeah.
But with the Michigan Peddler, Detroit's top-rated party bike, the fall fun has just begun. You can invite friends and family, up to 15 per bike, for fun Friday night on the town, a Saturday afternoon soaking up the fall sun, or a roving tailgate before a Sunday Lions game. It's a perfect way to get people socializing off the damn phone, unless they're taking photos at Detroit landmarks that will make them the envy of everyone on IG, which, cool kids know that. Instagram, where you might find Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Yeah, that's right. Michigan Peddler is the party bike that's famous for cameos on Detroiters and for hosting celebrities from Solange, a.k.a. Beyonce's sister. Athletes, media hotshots, and ML Soul of Detroit listeners have also cruised with the Michigan Peddler. We had a great time, and we may do that again next summer, so stay tuned for that. Small groups are no problem. The Michigan Peddler is perfect for members of the Sean Windsor fan club because it accommodates groups of 6 or less. You don't have to try and get 6. They will make it work. Rides start in Corktown, so you don't have to worry about traffic or paying for parking before heading through Corktown to Midtown, Campus Martius, the stadiums in downtown. You can even turn your ride into a pub crawl, and they might even let you bring some suds on the ride, too. If you're booking a birthday celebration, the guest of honor gets a free Michigan Peddler t-shirt, but if you're using promo code ML, you can get some free swag, some free logo gear from ML Soul Detroit when you book your ride. So use promo code ML to let them know you support the show and you want some free gear. For more information, you can go to Michigan Peddler at 313-744-3272. That's 744-3272. Or visit MichiganPeddler.com. You'll find a link to their website on our website, which is mlsoulofdetroit.com. So Michigan Peddler, show them some love because they're supporting this show. This week, we continue our movie themes, new wave hits that became popular or used.
I have to start over. You walked over the intro. Go ahead. Sorry.
I thought you were going to give me a countdown.
I know.
Anyways, great suggestion here for real life with Send Me an Angel.
You still have 8 seconds.
Angel, please. Promo code SOUL.